Hey, John here. So this is the first installment in the exclusive newsletter lesson series. So in this series, I'm going to talk a lot about different techniques. We're going to start off with some alternate picking, since that's probably the one that I get the most questions about. And in this first episode, we're going to talk about how to improve your synchronization. Synchronization, if you don't know what I mean by that, it's just the ability to play notes that are really solid and perfectly in time with each other. So if I play something like this, hopefully you can hear that the note is just the note. There's no extraneous noise, and I'm not talking about other strings ringing here either. I think the best explanation is when if you heard a drummer play something called a flam. So instead of doing this, they go. So they sort of slightly divide the two strokes. And the reason why they want to do that is because it gives sort of a fatter sound. So it's good as an accent. When it comes to flams between these two hands, when you pick though, then it's not a great sound generally. So what happens is when you get out of sync, either your left hand or your right hand is going to be a bit too early. So either way, what's going to happen is you're going to get this sort of slightly doubled up sound, which in turn will turn your picking articulation to basically a big mush. It doesn't sound good at all. So because what happens, let's say I play this, and if I'm a bit too early with this finger, so it's not really going to be a hammer-on. It's going to be kind of a weak hammer-on almost. And then you get the pick attack after. You get this type of idea. And it's actually kind of hard to fake this because when you worked a lot on the synchronization like I've done, it sort of sticks with you, which is a good thing. So how do you develop this then? Well, one thing that's really important I found is to work with a metronome. And one of the very best ways of improving your overall tone and your technique is something that I call transition time. I don't know if that's an official term. I've heard it the first time in the Speed Mechanics book by Troy Stetina. But since then, I've seen it pop up in violin books. I've seen it in a classical guitar player showed it to me when I was studying at GIT. So it is a thing that a lot of classical musicians seem to be using. And basically what you do is that you combine slow practice with fast transitions. So that's the transition time. So if I play something like that, right? And if I play that fast, basically, if I slow that down, like if I would slow this video down, or you did that, my motions would be like this. See, everything would be slowed down equally. But as you can hear, that doesn't sound very good when you play slowly. And also, when you play slowly, you kind of want to mimic the motions you need to do when you play fast, because when you play slowly, you can sort of get away with any type of motion. Right, I could do that, but that has a very, low speed wall. So what you want to do instead is kind of like, think of it in comparison to slow motion, like stop motion. If you ever seen like sort of claymation type videos, or like Team America, for example, when they use the dolls. So the way to get that to move is that they basically move the dolls, small amount, take another picture, and they do that over and over again. So basically what I mean is that you gotta move, I'm here, and then I'm gonna be here, 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 here. And obviously I'm not moving that quickly as they would do in stop motion, where you're in one place and then you're in the next. But that's sort of the way to think about it. So the difference here then, ideally, when I play it faster, the only thing that changes is the number of notes I play per minute or second or whatever. So, but the actual motion from note to note, meaning the transition, hence the title of this technique, remains the same. So that should remain as fast as possible. And when you do this, you're gonna find that your synchronization just skyrockets compared to the normal way of practicing. So what I like to do, like to turn on a metronome, maybe at 80 BPM. So I'm gonna do that right now. We can get this going. When you first try this though, try it anywhere from 50 to 60 BPMs. And now you're just gonna play quarter notes here. So I'm gonna try to play exactly on the beat and then move at the very last millisecond. So. Right? That's the idea. And another way to think about it could be that if you play like this, basically you have a gap between each note, so bop, 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 bop. But now when you speed it up, like with the transition time, you do this, you remove all the gaps, meaning that you hold this note as long as you can, move very quickly to this note, so you have less gaps in between your notes, so you play as legato as possible. So hopefully that was clear. I explained it in two ways, since I know through teaching hundreds of students that some people get it better the first way I explained it, and some people get it better the other way I explained it. So if you're still unclear what I mean, rewatch the video, and if that doesn't help, you can email me and ask me some questions, okay? As an experiment here, I would like you to try this at home, and we're gonna pick something that's pretty easy to remember, so we don't need any tabs or anything like that. So basically do this one. Just start down at the first fret. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, so just chromatic. And we're gonna move up 1 fret and go down 4, 3, 2, 1. Then up 1 fret. And so on. So we pick everything. We try to have an inaudible position shift here. We don't want anything like that. So just but you want to do that at a tempo between 50 and 80 BPMs like this. And so on, all the way up. And then when you go back, I would suggest that you do the same thing, but you start with an upstroke. So you go, same thing, alternate pick, but you start with an upstroke. So. And so on. Then you do that on all strings. So add this exercise to your practice schedule. And I can promise you, if you do it as I showed you and you actually do it correctly, meaning you keep the transitions as fast as possible and you really listen to the result you get and that you don't get any kind of flams, your synchronization will definitely improve. It's impossible not to improve. So if you've had any type of synchronization problems before, this is a really good exercise just to start to shape that up a bit. And this will transfer to other things as well. So just doing this will help you with all your other technique stuff. But if you start practicing this way even more, you will get even better results, of course. But just start doing this. I think you'll find that as a test, like, you know, does this really work? It's kind of slow and it's kind of boring, you know. But it's well worth your time, I think, if you want to get your synchronization up. So give that a try, and then in tomorrow's video, I'm gonna show you some other synchronization tips, and then we'll take it from there. So thanks for signing up, and see you tomorrow.